with Stephanie. I want to see how long
Wow.
you can draw it out for. And you are
How did
going
I
to
do?
pick. I mean, I don't know. I wish you could have gone out longer about it, but that's cool.
That's what they all say.
I'm not even going to go there. Wow. What'd you pick today?
What
This
is it?
crap. I'm just kidding. You picked Bare Minerals. I think it says Marvelous.
The only person I know that has lipsticks, you have so many of them, you can't use them up. They rattle around in there, they wear the ink off of the...
But you know what? In my defense,
Yeah, that one, I'm curious to see on this one.
I never really wore them until I came here. I just collected them. I didn't care what I looked like when I was at Sailor Pillars, but then, I mean, you put on mics and have cameras pointing at you, kind of like all of a sudden, hang on, let me lose 20 pounds and put on lip gloss. Anyways, this one's called Spark Plug. You always pick Spark Plug.
So, ladies, if you want to look your best and lose weight, get on a radio program.
Yeah,
or
but then you get
a
comfortable
video
and then you
program.
gain it, and then COVID happens, and it just goes all downhill from there.
Wow.
Anyways, national days really quick. I'm going to do today and tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
1.
September 9th is, we're going to go with Care Bears Share Your Care Day. Do you know what that means?
No.
Me neither. Okay. September 10th, which I'm kind of excited about this. I mean, there's another one that's really cool, but this one I'm going to go with, National TV Dinner Day. Remember back in the day when you would sit with the TV trays?
Yes. Do they still have those anymore? The old Swanson? I remember the Swanson TV dinners.
I don't know. Aren't they horrible for you though?
Yes, they were about like eating cardboard, but
Not taste-wise, but just like body.
yes, because they had all sorts.
nutrition-wise.
They were the cheapest.
Like
about the-
tons of
yeah,
preservatives.
the cheapest
And the
grade of
banquet
food.
ones.
Yeah,
My mom
The-
loves
yes,
the turkey
banquet.
ones with the stuffing and the gravy.
that's
She'd
it.
get that
Yeah,
one all the time.
the cheapest components that they could put it. Yeah, dump the grease that they poured off of the regular stuff in the TV dinners. Yeah, cheap as they could make them. Of that. Yeah, they were. Not only did most of them taste like cardboard in my book, but yeah, they were barely enough to keep you alive.
Right.
Barely.
So those are our national days. And that is Make It With Stephanie and
There
Roy.
you go. Where's the jingle palette? Ah. Oh, you got it at the So funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday.
I actually get it all down pat today, and you're off.
Yes, well,
But hey,
I guess
you know what? It makes me feel
I
better.
guess we had to switch roles today.
I'm not gonna. Wow.
Yeah, you've been like boom, 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 and I've been like, yeah, what the heck? What?
What's going on?
Yeah, what's
Oh, okay. You know what?
Huh?
Where's my? Ha!
Here we go. And we are live at 5 as we do every Monday through Friday on a Wednesday.
Windy
Wednesday.
We
See,
weren't
I'm
ready
blowing
for that.
every- yeah.
You didn't even say what we are. We're at Newswire on Facebook and on YouTube.
I guess we're just reversing.
And we're gonna have Susan and Shelley at the bottom of the hour.
So take it over. I'll just stand here and look good.
Today we're gonna discuss. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even know what we're talking about. That's where I stop.
Well, I thought, wow, the way you were on a
Oh,
roll.
Halloween. Is Halloween in or out?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I'm voting that it's going to be out. I said that months ago that Halloween's just not going to.
You're ruining the surprise.
Really?
No, I mean, it was.
Well, I didn't want to guess right. I'm just saying.
It didn't. No, I guess you're right.
Okay, shh.
You're not. No, I guess you're on top of this stuff today. What'd you do? Take some smart pills today or something?
No. Okay, you know what?
Ding, ding, ding.
Wow. Anyways.
That could be taken as a compliment.
No.
Of that. Did the cop shoot the black man? Because that's the narrative out there. every time cops, especially white cops, show up and see a black man, they just automatically pull out their weapons and kill them. Does this happen all the time, every day, or what's the reality of the situation? Trump, it was in North Carolina yesterday, and he was back being Trump. And I got to say, hands down, it isn't even close now. Donald Trump, 45th president of the United States, is far and away, no matter what you think of the politics, is the most entertaining president we have ever had. We'll run some clips of that. SUVs, a new story out, and in USA Today and the Detroit Free Press. And you're not going to believe this, but what I've been telling you, and somebody's probably going to say Roy is right again.
No, she's not.
Because what I've been saying for many, many years and decades, and going to the public meetings and stuff of that, and public transportation. One good, speaking of this, one good thing we probably were really getting hosed under the workbench on this, but we don't know it. When's the last time you heard anything about that stupid bullet train that they're just dumping boatloads of our money down the rat hole?
What's that?
The supposedly the bullet train that was supposed to go from
I know, I'm just kidding.
L.A. to that, and they're only building. There's a big commuter deal going from Bakersfield to Fresno. There's a lot of people that are commuting back and forth to work on that. I just, there isn't gridlock on the freeways in Southern California. I mean, pre-COVID or whatever. Well, you're starting to get back to it now. But San Francisco, Sacramento.
I was really bummed when all the traffic came back.
Yeah. And all that stuff. No, we don't have traffic problems there or anything. And that was the original deal, is this was supposed to relieve the traffic or some of the traffic. I don't know how many people commute from L.A. to San Francisco every day, but that seems like
That's
a stretch.
Yeah.
That's a little, that's a little stretchy on that.
What time would you have to get up? If you need to be work at by 8, you'd get up at like 1 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know. It takes. It's about an hour and a half.
No, you know what? It's about like 6 hours.
Well, it's a little over an hour in flight. It's about 400 miles up there. It's about 8 or 9, 10 hour drive. About 8 hour drive, I think, up to San Francisco.
No, it's 6.
6? Okay.
Yeah, it's like 6.5 because I was going to meet my friend.
6.5 hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 400 miles. So if the thing's doing 200 miles, let's just say the bullet train, which I think it was supposed to do 200 mile an hour. Let's say, let's just give it average. If it averaged 200 mile an hour and it's 400 miles, how many hours would it take?
I wasn't listening. Right?
I thought you were gonna. Well, you were on a roll. I thought you'd flash that right.
I was writing Ann back.
Ann
looks forward to tuning in each program.
Yes.
Thanks, Ann, for your support. I'm gonna finish writing you back, and I'm gonna let our viewers answer that
2 hours
because I've done enough math
of that. But no, the one fortunate that fortunate at least we're not hearing about it. But what just got me thinking about that is they're probably behind the scenes now that nobody's paying attention. They're probably throwing billions of dollars more at that rat hole of a bullet train. What did they spend? Almost $15 billion on it.
What I want to know is what person wanted to take that train to benefit their life, because it wasn't to benefit many others. It had to have just been for like a handful of people.
I mean, the only train, and it would only really make more sense for Vegas or whatever to get people. A train going from here to Vegas would make sense.
Yeah, or like Sacramento or something.
Well, but I mean,
how far is Sacramento from San Francisco?
It's about 2 hours, about 100 or so miles, I think. But no,
like how many people are traveling to San Francisco?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
What?
Every pre-COVID, there was always, on the weekends.
I mean, I want to go to San Francisco. I think it'd be cool, but how many people?
Not anymore. You wouldn't, though.
I would never take that damn train, though.
That's a rotten hellhole.
I still want to go. I don't care what
well, there are nice areas to it still left, but it's San Francisco and Los Angeles are getting kind of like Mexico. If you stay on the resorts or the fancy places, you're fine. But you don't want to step off the curb and go anywhere off of there. You're taking your life in your hands.
Right.
But I mean, I do agree. I mean, San Francisco has some of the most, a lot of beautiful buildings, historic buildings and stuff, and terrain and stuff. The Ripley's Museum is there, which is kind of cool. If you I don't know if you would like Fisherman's Wharf because you don't like the fish, because it does have a definite, You do have the
Ew.
definite fish smell down in there, but it's an interesting place to cruise.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that one.
Yeah, I don't think you'd go for the Fisherman's Wharf, but it's increasingly becoming a hellhole of where yeah, if you're just in the resort areas or the higher end, it's like you got unrestricted lines in the sand. You can't go here, you can't go there, da 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 da. I mean, you're taking a big risk on that. Let's get to the Halloween story.
Okay.
L.A. County has just banned Halloween.
What?
100%. Door-to-door trick-or-treating is totally out. Releases guidelines for Halloween. Here's a little background on the story from CBS 2 on that as we're doing that. I mean, I don't necessarily enjoy bringing this
stuff, but it has been
either.
canceled over concerns with coronavirus. Tonight, new guidelines from L.A. County Department of Health. The guidelines could drastically change the way that we've seen Halloween celebrated in the years past.
Right, we're talking no trick-or-treating, no haunted houses. So what's the plan? Here's KCAL 9's Hermela Aragawi.
I am a huge Halloween person, so that's kind of sad.
LA County's health department has released guidelines on what is and isn't allowed this Halloween. Not permitted is trick-or-treating or trunk-or-treating, where people go car to car as opposed to homes, gatherings and parties with people outside your home, and no carnivals or haunted house attractions. Instead, the county wants people to celebrate online or in parades while in their cars, watch a scary movie at a drive-in theater, or see Halloween-themed art installations at outdoor museums.
We have a good Halloween this year too.
Ron Moazes, who's owned this costume store on Hollywood Boulevard for the last 35 years, says he's optimistic that people will celebrate Halloween this year, even with the pandemic.
People decor their house, backyard, and Hollywood Boulevard is always in Halloween.
Allison Isbell agrees and says she'll celebrate the holiday anyway.
I just love dressing up. I love costumes. I love seeing what other people choose. Just because people have been kind of stir crazy and, pent up at home, not much to do. So I would think it would be like a big release of fun for everybody. Hopefully that's what it is.
Some people we talked to say it makes sense to just ban trick-or-treating altogether this year so there won't be confusion about what is and isn't okay. We spoke with the spokesperson for the National Confectioners Association. In a statement, the organization says, "We appreciate LA County's call for creative and safe approach to celebrating Halloween. Whether this Halloween means more time at home or just more time celebrating the season throughout the month of October, one thing is for sure, Halloween is happening."
What do you mean Halloween is happening? Halloween, you can't basically do anything on Halloween. They put it in L.A. County, which is 1/4, 10 million of the 40 million people of California live in L.A. County. And as soon as L.A. County drops this, how many more are going to do this? This is last year we went. The guy that has the haunted house tour thing up here that we went to last year. I mean, is that going to be out?
Probably. But then, okay, so that doesn't make sense to me that you're going to out Halloween, but then you're promoting to go to outdoor museums. Isn't that like the same freaking thing? I don't get it. I mean, I do in a way, and that's why I said months ago that Halloween's going to be out because, I mean, you're going to go to people's houses. They're going to be touching the candy and all that other stuff.
And again, they've said most of this stuff is, in that. And Halloween, what do you wear on Halloween?
Costumes.
And?
Masks.
Yes. If masks are supposed to be the end-all, be-all preventative of spreading of COVID-19, then what in the hell are you banning trick-or-treating, trunk-or-treating, or parties or anything else because everybody's wearing a mask? Even the people that don't like masks or against masks are wearing a mask on Halloween. So this is the most illogical, stupid, ridiculous thing I have ever heard. Because if they are right, there is nothing about Halloween that would be spreading COVID if the whole new narrative that masks are masks are going to save us all. I mean, am I wrong?
I'm not shocked by all of this. I'm really not. I'm sad. I mean, I'm bummed out, but then at the same time, I'm saving money on Halloween costumes for my kids because they're like $60 a pop, and I have 4.
Well,
But like
there
he
is
said-
always a silver lining in the cloud.
Right. But like he said, Halloween's still going to happen. You know, people are going to. I think Halloween's on a Saturday this year, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but what are you going to
How-
do? You can't have parties.
People, yeah, it's on a Saturday this year. You know how many Halloween parties are going to be going on? But then COVID, little numbers are going to rise, and then it's going to be another lockdown. So
That was another thing. You know, the Sturgis motorcycle rally where all the Harley riders and motorcycle riders go to Sturgis, South Dakota. Little town, I don't know what, 5,000 people and 250,000 people show up. It's like a yearly thing. You know, it's a yearly thing. They've done it for years. Everybody showed up there, yada, yada, yada. They've been trying to spread this false narrative that, oh, the cases in South Dakota are exploding because of this. And then you get down to the brass tacks of it, and it's like 22 cases. Or something like 86 or something confirmed cases since this has happened. Da, 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 da. You know, because they're saying, oh, you know, because South Dakota didn't have never mandated masks or any of this stuff, yada yada yada. And they said, oh, because all these, you know, most everybody showed up and most everybody did not wear masks. 250,000 people descended on this small town in South Dakota, and they're trying to spin it as, here you go. This is like, it's like this craziness with Halloween.
right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you can't believe nothing, hardly anything that comes over the airwaves unless you're listening to IE and Newswire, where everything is 110,000% true.
Maria writes, and why didn't you argue why we can't go to church? Shaking my head. Did they say you can't go to church on Halloween? Maybe they meant the trunk or treats. Are they getting rid of trunk or treats?
Yes, it said trunk or treats are out in LA County. You can't do anything.
Yeah, Halloween's out.
Except, yes. I mean, they just said, no, ban, out. And you're wearing a mask. Everybody's wearing a mask.
It's not the right mask, though. It's a different mask. And usually you have gloves, too. Like Mario and Luigi, my kids have them. They have the gloves. Are you shocked?
No, because it's not about
Are you
COVID.
outraged?
Yes.
Okay. But you know what? I feel like a lot of people weren't really doing Halloween.
You know, I just don't take stupid very well.
No, you don't. But a lot of people weren't doing Halloween anymore anyways. I mean, they're going to trunk or treats and churches and things like they're going to the mall.
out.
And that's fine. I'm not knocking that at all, but I don't think a lot of people were really feeling Halloween much anyways.
But
I mean, I'm bummed, but I already mentally prepared for Halloween to be out. So.
But I
Is what
mean,
it
like
is.
you said, okay.
But do you know what my favorite part of Halloween was watching my kids go to school in their costume and look at all their friends' costumes and like trick or treat the school.
yeah,
And that wasn't going to happen, so my Halloween was already ruined anyways.
yeah, 'cause
going
they,
out at night,
They got
I was always-
padlocks on the freaking school.
Right. Going out at night, I was always scared I was going to get like mugged or
I
murdered,
can
so.
see that, and that's why, and I understand that. That's why, you know, the dangers of society and stuff of that. You know,
But that's where, like Maria said, the churches and the trunk or treats
right.
were a blessing.
that's
They were great.
which is fine. You know, I mean, you know, or the, you know, some. I think even some of the schools had some stuff going on for Halloween.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I mean, you know, do what
Halloween mazes, haunted mazes.
Yes.
Not Scary Farm.
Yeah.
Universal Fright Fest. Disneyland.
Somebody's really getting mad.
I know. Shut up.
But again, yes, all that stuff is like out.
Can we still decorate our houses for Halloween? Or do you
No,
think
they'll
they're gonna
probably
say
don't
no?
say that. They'll probably come up with a rule of that. Probably no Christmas lights either because you're burning too much electricity. You're global warming. You're going to kill us all.
Crap. Is Santa going to come to houses because of COVID?
No, because we're
You
going
better.
to kill
I'll
Santa.
put a mask. Everybody put a mask on your doors for Santa. He'll be safe. And hand sanitizer.
Oh, we saw that the person that got burned up on hand sanitizer. You don't want to burn up Santa.
How did he burn up on hand sanitizer?
Where it exploded. The
Where?
alcohol in it.
In the car?
Yeah, no, it lit up. It lit up on the woman and burned her good. I think we might have did that while you were gone.
Well, I was just asking questions for those that might have missed it. Anyways.
We want to get to that because the narrative that the dominant media and the Black Lives Matter and all the fruitcakes out there want to do that. Every time a cop sees a black man, They just automatically they pull out their guns and open fire and shoot them deader than a doornail. So this is out of Florida on Yahoo News. A Florida jogger kept his cool while cops detained him. Then they offered him a job. Pull up the picture on that, please. Thank you. This is by Madeline Barr in the Miami Herald on today, September 9th. A man who kept his cool while Florida deputies detained him now has a new job with law enforcement, according to Facebook posts in Volusia County Sheriff's Office. What's famous about Volusia County?
It's something with racing, but it's not coming to my
Well,
mind
you're
right
getting
now.
good. I mean,
It's not coming.
Daytona International Speedway.
I knew it. There it
You're
is.
kind of
It was right
impressed you
there.
knew it had to do with racing. You're
No.
kind of catching on to some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
Griffin was taking a jog at Deltona, not Daytona, Deltona. That's why I wanted that so people don't get confused. It's a little other town. Last month when deputies stopped him for matching the description of a burglary suspect. Mind you, the cops do not know you by your first name. Well, they do know me, but that's another story in itself. They don't know 99.999% of the people that come up on a first-name basis or you don't even know who there is. African-American male, white tank top, black shorts initially. The former military officer recounted to Click-Off Carrier. Of course, it was pretty scary. I didn't know what was going on first when he approached me. Griffin, 28, said his military training fared him well and taught him to remain calm and compliant while the incident was captured on police body cam. No one will say you're wrong for being frustrated because it's scary or frustrating, the 20-year-old told the media outlet. But I will say if you remain calm at least 85% of the time and probably more, the situation will go your way. Yes, the officer has authority, but at the end, you have control. Very important statement. Very wise guy. And the father, too, is now a registered nurse, also live streamed the 17-minute encounter on his Facebook page. At one point, he was handcuffed and still doesn't react. If something happens to me, y'all better raise hell, Griffin says to his followers, alluding to the recent police brutality protests and Black Lives Matters protests. Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood was so impressed how Griffin handled things in such a cooperative and respectful manner, the way that he gave him a job. Joseph Griffin is going to come out and join us during implicit bias training and tell his story from his perspective, wrote Chitwood on Facebook. I think we can all learn from his point of view just like he has listened to ours. Mr. Griffin is a military veteran and medical professional. I told him we train him and hire him as a deputy in a second if he ever wants a job. Chitwood added that the actual suspect was eventually arrested. Like the man said. And what is it, the Chris Rock video, and we got to bleep that out so we can play it because
Send it to
where
me.
How to not get beat by the police. And if you are respectful for the police, answer their question. They don't know. You match the description of a robbery suspect.
Right.
They see, they get a description: black man, late 20s, mid 30s, and white tank top. Da 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 da. You happen to be walking in the same area, matching that description, and here either comes on the red light, they're out with guns drawn, they're handcuffing you and wanting to know what the hell's going on.
See, but I think people need to keep in consideration, too, the way that the world's gone. No police officer is going to come up to anybody without guns drawn and being armed and ready to any possibilities happening.
But in this case, with Mr. Chitwood, he knew he didn't do anything.
Right.
So he just, and he had common sense enough to comply with the officers,
Exactly.
let them do their job, figure out, no, you're not the guy, you're not the suspect in that.
Right.
Thank you very much. In fact, you handled this so nicely. Hey, why don't you come work for us? Now, that's the way 99.9999999% of the situations go if you cooperate with the police. That doesn't mean you have to blab your guts, or if you don't want to answer questions, that's fine.
Right.
But don't be yelling at them, F-ing them,
Right.
throwing pepper spray or threatening or even pointing a gun or knife at them or anything else. If you're cussing them out and telling them what you're going to do and all that stuff, I'm saying 98.7% of the time the situation is not going to work out very well for you. So,
Exactly.
as Mr. Christensen said, you have control. They are the law at that particular time on there because they have that authority, but you have control of the situation. And it's just like if you watch the whole body cam video of George Floyd. I bet most of you, unless you're just locked into one way of seeing it, don't want to view it with a open mind, you're going to see a whole different perspective of it. And this happens thousands, if tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of times a day in the United States of America. And again,
see, I see that we got this from Yahoo News, and that's great, but I hope that this gets pressed along media platforms and
it
shown.
won't. No, because it
I
doesn't
know
fit
it
the
won't,
narrative.
but things like that, it's sad because it's a good story. I mean, that's great. We should be celebrating for him. He just got a job. I'll go celebrate for him tonight. Never mind.
Which is good because that will
think that's
force
great.
people to listen to Newswire because you'll only get this kind of stuff here.
Yes. Hey, did we just do something positive? I love it. See? He's catching on.
I want to get to the Trump. This Trump at the North Carolina rally going on yesterday, and this is vintage Trump. We're just going to roll the video and.
How's the economy? Not good, sir. We're in a depression. Oh, we are? What's that? Joe Biden has spent 47 years shipping North Carolina jobs to China and other countries. You know that. And I've spent the last 4 years bringing jobs back to our country. We never had so many jobs.
That's a reality of the situation.
If our foreign adversaries were devising a scheme to cripple America, they could hardly do better than the Kamala Harris. Remember Kamala? She started at 15. She was supposed to win. Problem was she went from 15 to 14 to 12 to 10 to 7 to 4. It's like a free fall. You know why people don't like her? Nobody likes her. She could never be the first woman president. She could never be.
I just want to stop right there and get your reaction. Have you, and I have. I've seen more of them than you have. I've never seen a president that would say anything like that as president of the United States in that manner, that way of going at it.
And that's where he pisses a lot of people off. But at the same time, is he wrong?
No, and he said, again, everybody says, I want a president that's like us, meaning acts like us, talks like us, and then
Right.
they get that, and then they're
And
mad.
then they don't like it because they have that expectation.
There we go.
That would be an insult to our country. And never forget, they're coming after me because I'm fighting for you. There's a lot of truth in that one. And they do come after me. Biden's a globalist sellout who spent his career laying waste to American communities. And he talks about he's going to do this, he doesn't have any idea, he has no clue. He's going to do this. He's been there for 47 years. Biden has now formed an unholy alliance with the most extreme and dangerous elements of the radical left. You know that, with Crazy Bernie and everyone. And by the way, you know who's further left than Crazy Bernie? Kamala.
Look at how he just says her name.
Biden's plan is...
Yes, it is. It's good.
In a way, it's like he's taking a dig. And that,
Yes.
it's not cool, but then at the same time, I don't know. I don't have the energy to care about it, really.
to appease the domestic terrorists. My plan is to arrest them. Biden also cheered the rise of China as a positive development for America and for the world. How are we doing with China? We just have the plague. We've had other plagues sent by them. I wonder if they did it on purpose. What do you think? And together...
I just want to cut a couple of them. Like he said, there is a clear-cut choice. Biden's for more China running the world. He's perfectly fine with that. He's perfectly fine with the Black Lives Matter protesters and everything running your cities and towns. And and if you have that little moniker in your little Facebook page supporting Biden and Harris, that's what you're supporting.
40 seconds.
And you do that each and every day as we go through this. it's a clear. This is such a clear-cut choice. In this, like I see, there probably wasn't a bigger contrast than Reagan and Mondale in '84 that I can remember. That we have a choice of one side or the other, and I
20
think
seconds.
it's even a wider divide of that. So I don't know. That's what we got on that. We might even run more clip. We'll have Susan Shelley is when we join KMET here.
5 seconds.
At the bottom of the hour. Coming up.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air. The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on the Mighty Bet 1490 AM on a
Windy
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
We're back on track on
Yeah,
this
we
one.
are.
That.
Hey, you got your intro down now.
Well, you got to change it up once in a while.
Yeah.
People get bored. People get bored with the static same yada 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 thing.
Same old Roy.
Yes.
Different day. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that's a good one. Run. Well, one of my same stuff, different day, SSDD, and you can substitute another word for stuff. But
Oh, I get it. Hello.
But no, we've discussed that Trump on the campaign trail. That we might run a couple more clips when Susan Shelley's going to come on here in a minute. For that, we'll have her on. We went through. The cops don't just as soon as they seen a black man, they just don't open fire. And you know what? It doesn't matter what color your skin tone is. You know what? If you're respectful to the cops and do that, 99.999 times out of 100, you're going to walk away just and beyond your business and on your merry way. We ran that of a story of police officers that had, detained a suspect who matched a description of a robbery suspect, and he just walked away. They cuffed him. Found out, took about 10 minutes, decided, oh, yeah, you're not the deal. And he was so cooperative, they offered him a job. So
I think it was a great story. They need to really blast that out everywhere because I
Yes.
think it needs to be heard. All those kinds of stories, no matter what color you are. All the races need to be all seen out there like that.
SUVs are making a big comeback, and 44% of Americans now that used to ride public transportation the last decade said they're never going back to it.
Why?
Because people want freedom.
Like buses?
Yes, buses, these trains, the Metro Link and all that.
Did anybody really take those? I mean, I know a lot of people took Metro Links up to if you work down in LA or anything like that.
Hardly. You see like two people in the darn thing. So look at the buses. There's like
I've
two
never
people.
taken a train, but I want to take my kids up to LA. I know there's like that big
Ventura.
train.
No,
Not Ventura. There's that big train station.
The Metro Link station's right by the fairgrounds.
I was wondering where it was.
Yes.
Where?
Right there on the beach.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Metro Link.
What beach?
Ventura Beach. Oh.
No, the Paris Fairgrounds.
No, the Ventura Fairgrounds.
Oh, you said Paris.
Well, they stop close to it. But yeah, you can get in from here and go to the Ventura Fairgrounds, and it takes you right off there at the fairgrounds where the track is and right there at the beach. Much better ride than dingy Los Angeles, but anyway. More stuff coming on that. We L.A. County just canceled Halloween straight out. No nothing, no trunk or treats, no trick or treating, no parties, no nothing, out. Which is not a big surprise, but as we said, everybody's wearing a mask on Halloween, and if Halloween is supposed to be the big crescendo of protecting us all, then why is Halloween? Because even people that are against wearing masks over this whole COVID thing or don't wear them, wear a mask on Halloween. So what is the big deal of this? This is how insane our society is. But to check all this stuff out and probably elevate the program, at least from my perspective on it, from what you hear from me all the time, we're going to bring in our longtime guest who's been on once a week for, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 years now. She's the columnist, editorial writer for the Press Enterprise, San Bernardino Sun, Inland Daily Bulletin, Redlands Daily Facts, and another gazillion newspapers all across Southern California. But more importantly to me is Vice President of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. Welcome to IE Newswire with Steph and Roy, Susan, Shelley.
Thank you. Thank you, Roy. Hi, Steph. It's great to be with you.
Pull up the Trump deal, because Trump was in North Carolina, and I've been kind of concerned about Donald Trump, but that, he was kind of taking a low-key approach, and I thought that just isn't Donald Trump, But he was at a rally yesterday in North Carolina on that, and Donald Trump was back to being Donald Trump at this, mocking Biden and Kamala and pointing out the stark differences that. So I don't know what this clip is, but I'm just going to play it, a couple of short clips here, and I want to get your reaction to it.
Together with the incredible people of North Carolina, we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, North Carolina.
There was the end of his speech on that, and he run the sharp contrast of, Biden is China's best friend. If you want to be ruled by China, if you want your cities run by Black Lives Matters and protesters and anarchists, you got a clear-cut choice. And he said it with the thunderous attitude of Trump did, and I'm very grateful towards, for now we're less than 60 days in, because, it's getting down to crunch time on the election. What's your thoughts on what's going on, Susan, Shelley?
Well, I listened to that ovation on the word safe, and that seemed to me to be a notch higher than the rest of the applause. The applause was overwhelming, but safe. I think that's a newly important issue for a lot of Americans who are feeling that their cities are not safe and that they can't go out to dinner and do the normal things that people do, not because of COVID, but because of protests and violence and defunding the police and all the rest of it. I think people feel very unsafe, and that bodes well for a president who is vowing to restore law and order.
It is, and again, he was back, and what was really, again, as I mentioned, what really put my mind a little more at ease was he's back to being Trump. I think some of the consultants that had got, or I was afraid some of them had got political consultants, because he was trying to be, as they say, presidential, or and as that narrative or that is, and that's just not Donald Trump. Donald Trump says it how he feels, how he thinks it, and lets the chips fall where they may. That's what got him where he is, going in business and politics and anywhere else. And to try and change that now, I think, would be a grave error.
I think so, too. He was thrown off his game by COVID-19 because there were pictures on the news of refrigerator morgue trucks and caskets every day. Open graves, pictures in the newspaper of open graves and people digging them. And everyone got so frightened. And the actual numbers of infection and the actual numbers of fatalities were so much lower than initially projected and initially feared. And now we're through the worst of it. It does appear. It appears that all the numbers are going down, hospitalizations, ICU, everything's going down. Right at the beginning, they showed us the big bump. It goes up, it goes down. We slowed it down. We flattened the curve. We lengthened it out for 6 months. but we're still on the end side of that curve. And now people are not so afraid. So Donald Trump is able to go and do a rally. People come and they're cheering and they're not afraid. There was a time in the middle there where people were terrified, and he had to acknowledge that he couldn't do things the way he wanted to do them because the audience wasn't ready for it.
It is, and we've got a lot of stuff, and even that's the national thing, and that's important. But we have California with Prop 15 and some other tax increases and things, and nutty stuff coming on that. I wanted to get your perspective on California. Let's start boiling it down. California, how do we're less than 60 days out. How do you see California turning like Prop 15? Do you think we'll pick up any Congress assembly seats, turning some of them from, center right from extremely far left? What's your analysis of what will happen come November 3rd in California?
Well, I think it depends on whether people turn out to vote. It's really important that conservative voters who have had enough of California taxes, and even liberal voters who have had enough of California taxes, show up at the polls or vote by mail. Do not skip this election, no matter what. Vote no on Proposition 15, which is the biggest property tax increase in history. Vote no on Proposition 19, which is $1 billion tax increase on California families. Vote no on the local taxes and the local bond measures that are going to increase the debt and put us further underwater. Show up at this election and vote. We cannot be complacent. But having said that, I do think that the energy is on the conservative side. I don't think Joe Biden is really inspiring people to crawl over broken glass to go to the polls and vote for him. And it seems to me that we might be okay on some of these measures. We might be okay on defeating the tax increases. I hope. How it's going to go in the presidential race, who can say? California is possibly lost forever, but I don't think it's really lost forever, but it's pretty deep in the blue, and it could get a lot lighter blue and still go blue, which is how I think I would project it if I was betting on it. It'll go for Biden, but by less than expected.
Yeah, if Trump wins California in 2020, then he will have as Obama said, a 57-state route of this thing, of that. But no, and Trump even mentioned it. I think of that. He said, I think he was just, I'm sure he was half joking, but he said, if they want to put California in play, we just might do it. And but that's what I'm thinking of more. And it I picked up that when you said it, and you said about the Trump, when he mentioned safety at North Carolina, the applause really picked up. And I'm getting a sense of it, even, like and I'm wondering if you do, even those that are center, even to the far left, are now starting to question what's going on because they don't even feel safe in their own communities anymore.
That's a really big thing. It's a lot of the socialist agenda turns people off, but they're not scared of it, probably because they don't really understand how bad it would be and all the consequences, but they're not scared of socialism. But you know what? When you see pictures of people sitting in a restaurant and a mob comes in and clears the table and drives people out of a restaurant screaming and yelling profanity and harassing people who are elderly and female and all, where is the civility of basic human conduct? That it's so disturbing to see that all thrown aside. It doesn't help anything to do that. It doesn't advance anybody's cause to go scream profanities at elderly people walking in a crosswalk. That doesn't get you anywhere. That doesn't get it done. And if you stand for screaming profanities at an elderly couple walking in a crosswalk, I don't think you belong in American politics.
So, Stephanie, are you still voting for Joe Biden?
Oh, Stephanie, no. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so.
No, she came in here because Biden actually sent her a fundraising letter. Yeah, so she's, yes. So, she came.
Mike.
Yes, Stephanie, which I thought was kind of, which, and Yes, but no, I thought it was kind of odd because not to disparage Stephanie, but she's not a high propensity voter of that, this and this was about a month ago, and I'm thinking, man, they're really they're really putting on the fundraising push if they're or maybe they're high dollar, although I think he's raised a lot of money on that. Maybe that's what they're doing, trying to push it. But I thought it was this early out. It was, a month ago was awful early to be hitting, more low propensity voters on that, where I'm digging myself into a hole on this thing. But, what's your perspective on it?
Well, I don't know. If he's sending a fundraising letter to a low propensity voter, they're going pretty deep in the list there. What was the tone of the fundraising letter? What was the main issue they were soliciting?
He threw it away.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
He threw it away.
Oh,
Steph, Mike.
Oh, still of that. No, it was it was mainly the gist of it. Is orange. Yes, an orange man's bad. That's basically what it is.
Orange man's bad. Well,
Yes.
if that's all they've got, then here's what's going to happen, because this is what happened when Reagan ran for re-election. And when he ran the first time against Jimmy Carter, there was this incredible slander campaign against Reagan. He's going to blow up the world.
Yes.
He's a dumb actor. They said everything about Reagan that it was possible to say and tried to make him out to be a cartoon. He co-starred with a monkey or a chimp in a movie, so there were all these bonzo jokes. Everybody who didn't follow politics closely had this view of Reagan as a cartoon. And then the debates. And the whole country tunes in, because that's a big deal when the candidates finally face off against each other. Live TV. That's World Wrestling Federation stuff. People tune in. And they watched Reagan, and he wasn't crazy. And they voted for him. And he beat Jimmy Carter. And then 4 years later, he's going to blow up the world, and he's crazy, and he worked with a chimp, and he's a fool, and he's an idiot. And he carried 49 states because he wasn't an idiot. And he said that communism was an evil empire, and his view of the Cold War is we win, they lose. And then eventually he made it happen. He wasn't in office when it happened, but it happened, and he set it in motion. He was the visionary who saw what was possible. And I think Donald Trump sees what is possible, and he sees what could happen on the negative side. And I believe that he will sell that vision to the country, and when he debates Joe Biden, Trump will be better than they expect. Biden will be worse than they expect. The same thing with Pence and Harris. Pence will be much better than they expect, and Harris will not be. And that's going to turn the election. And that the first debate is September 29th. Set your calendar to go off on you. Don't miss it. September 29th.
There you go. And this is why you're on, because when you use the word dumb actor, I would have used a different A word in that, but that's part of it. I want to get to your column because it is this week, because it is important. Sacramento's misguided attacks on single-family housing. Go, Susan Shelley.
They want to destroy single-family zoning in California. This was the leader of the Senate and Scott Wiener, the senator from San Francisco, and a bunch of housing activists, and this was the plan. It was Senate Bill 1120. It was going to abolish single-family zoning in California so that every single-family lot in the state, on every street, every residential neighborhood, every street, those lots could be subdivided into two. And you could put a house on each side, and you could put an ADU, a granny flat, next to each house, and that's 4 residences where currently there is 1 residence. And this was by right. If this bill had passed, it was going to quadruple density. Were there any requirements for parking? No. Were the cities allowed to do any approval process? No. By right, every homeowner could sell to a developer and turn that lot into 4 residences with no parking spaces, no yards, no trees, densifying the entire state. This bill almost passed. It was in the Assembly on the very last night of the end of the session, and they stalled it, and they stalled it, and they stalled it. 11:45, they're constitutionally required to to end the session at midnight on August 31st. When the clock strikes September 1, they can't pass anything by law. Quarter to midnight, they bring it up for a vote in the Assembly. It fails by 3 votes, but they use their legislative hocus pocus, and they keep the vote open. And they tried again at 11:57, and magically the votes appeared. And it needed 41, it got 44. Send it to the Senate, because it needed a concurrence vote in the Senate in order to become law, in order to go to the governor's desk and be signed. So it's 3 minutes to midnight, and there's no time. So they take it over to the Senate, it's too late, they can't vote on it, and the bill dies by the clock. But the fact that everybody voted for it sets this up to come back when the legislature does. So we're not out of this fight yet. They want to densify every residential street by a factor of 4, in some places 6. We could have 2 ADUs, 2 houses and 2 ADUs on every single family lot. This is really a travesty, because if you are a homeowner, what you did is you saved your money, you worked, you went into debt, you bought a house. You probably bought more house than you could even afford, because prices are always out of our reach in California. So you bought a nice house on a quiet street with a certain type of zoning. This abolishes that. So what would happen is you could wake up in the morning and each house on either side of you could be a construction site turning into 4 units. And the house across the street could turn into 4 units. And all of a sudden, there's no parking. And now you need new taxes because all these neighborhoods have densified. There's more people. You need more water, sewer, power capacity. It's going to mean shortages. It's going to mean tax increases. It's inevitable. More money for schools, more money for fire, more money for police, because you've quadrupled the density of a residential street. And if you don't like it, all you can do is leave the state. Because if this bill had passed and been signed into law, this could have happened to you on any residential street in California. I ask you, they sneak this stuff through at 11:45 on the last night of the session. People don't even know it's going on. This is how our government is working in Sacramento. We have to stop this. We have to stop this from happening. We need better people in government. We need more oversight of this kind of thing. We might need a constitutional amendment in California to guarantee local control of zoning, to make sure that Sacramento doesn't override our cities.
And this is kind of why I set this up like that, because it is important. I mean, you just barely dodged a bullet on 1120. And if, let's just say even the Assembly and the Senate, even if they only lose a couple of that, this thing's coming back. It'll be next year. After that, it'll, especially because it won't be an election year, obviously, next year in 2021. They'll have this thing up there passed and gone before you could even bat an eye. So that's why I say that makes it very critical that if you don't want this stuff, if you don't want 100-foot, the next evolution is they're going to be putting 100-story skyscrapers on every block.
They wanted to. They wanted to put, I think, up to 10-story apartment buildings on single-family lots that were close to transit or close to jobs. Well, virtually the whole state is close to either transit or jobs the way they define it. I mean, they define transit as a bus. If you live near a bus stop and it runs regular service in the rush hour, that counts as transit, and they can build 10-story or 10-unit maybe apartment buildings on a single-family lot. No parking because you're close to transit, as if everyone's going to take the bus everywhere they want to go, as if the buses go everywhere you want to go, as if that's going to work. So it's just the destruction of the California lifestyle. It's the destruction of the peace and quiet that you bought when you bought your property with zoning in place. And this overrides the cities. In some places, something like this might work. In some places where it's not so overcrowded, perhaps you could subdivide large lots and you could do 2 houses where there's currently 1 house. But they can do that now in the local government. They don't need Sacramento to do that. What is this bill? This bill tells the cities people can do this and you can't stop them. So in cities along the coast, like Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, which are very dense, they were pretty upset about this because they don't have enough parking, they don't have enough services for the crowded population they have, and if people have the right to sell their single-family home to a developer to be demolished and turned into 4 units, that's an impact on everybody else. And for that reason, that bill just had to be stopped. If you were a spotted owl, they couldn't do this to you.
You've got it, and we got about 30 seconds left. Tell them why they should join Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. Go, Susan Shelley.
Because Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association is looking out for you when no one else in California is looking out for you. HJTA is working to make sure that you are informed and that we are fighting those tax increases with everything we've got. So go to hjta.org and join for just $15 a year. Sign up for the email alerts. Make sure that you're up to speed on all of these bills as they come to a vote, so you know who to call and who to yell at. HJTA.org. And check out the endorsements and the ballot measure recommendations. It's really helpful.
You've got it. We'll do it again next week,
Thanks,
Susan.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.
So you wanted answers of why they're building the transportation. See, that's the whole deal. They're not building this public transformation busing and that. They're doing it they're doing it for the excuse to make higher density housing to cram your.
So
your
part
community.
of me, I like that because in a way, for this scenario, in a way, like my parents have a lot of land. So if I wanted to build a house on their property, I think that'd be cool. Then I would be close by. But then it's like almost like it's kind of shady because then what happens if they were to pass away? Do I then just like I live there? So then what?
No,
you know what I mean?
Take a highly dense.
But then how they're doing that with apartment complexes? No parking, no backyard, no trees. What the heck kind of life is that?
Take a look at Moreno Valley, where we've stacked that in. And, stacked a lot of people in these high-density lots, and people are parked all over the street. Imagine if they double the capacity.
That would drive me insane, because driving down that street and then whoever flies their door
you
open,
can't
you
hardly
almost
get,
take it off.
You can't hardly
people
get
are trying to go down the street, but someone's coming down. It's a mess.
not in the old, or like Susan said, where the old areas where because the scenario you explained is already there. If you have enough land to subdivide it properly, then there's no...
I know, but then there's so many hoops and things to go through, and then to get permits and get things... I mean, it takes forever, but...
And $50,000 to $100,000 just for the right to get a building permit.
Right.
And that's what's... And it's all because it all is, but I think you're finally seeing, and I hope a lot more are finally seeing the picture of that. It's not what they're telling you.
But then, I know, but how she was explaining it, and at first I was thinking, well, if I ever wanted to build something on my parents' property, that's cool. But then when she started saying that there's no parking, there's no backyards, and then I started thinking about all those crowded streets, and I mean, I want my kids to go back on the streets and ride their bikes and play, but nowadays you can't, because people... driving up and down the street.
Well, there is no,
it's chaos.
You barely get your car down into the street.
See, I think now I'm getting to the point, though, and I hate to say this, but I really kind of just want to leave California.
It's becoming...
and I don't want to say that.
But I get that 100%. It
makes me sad.
It's really sad on that.
I know.
We're just about ready to roll out of here for that. We'll be back tomorrow on Thursday of that.
I was off on my outro music too. Damn it!
A little bit. Well, you caught it of that. So we had a fun show today, and until tomorrow, we're gone.